I mean, her spelling obviously is in Portuguese and not English, but like we're respecting this, getting as close to all the weirdnesses and all this stuff. But as you go along, you get in these discussions, which are intense and long, and over the course of months, you do change your mind, and you do think, well, okay, maybe. So eventually, I had this very neoclassical, I guess you could say, idea of order and progress. It's the motto of Brazil, on the flag it says order and progress. I was going to do it all the same way, really be consistent. It's hard to do for a lot of reasons. It's hard emotionally. People invest a lot of their time and their energy and their care and their love into this, especially, if you're going to do her, she's not an easy person to translate at all. It's hard work. And then they get Ben Moser's draft, and it's like, like the Jack the Ripper Chainsaw Massacre. And, but I try to, I'm not always right about everything. I do have the experience of that voice in English. There has to be one voice. It might be yours, it might be yours, but it has to be consistent. It's not perfectly consistent, because some people really felt strongly about certain things. And I said, okay, it's your name on the thing. But what was really fun about it, I don't know if you have anything to do with translation yourself. Are you a translator?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, translation is, if you're a translator, it's rare and really fun and exciting to have somebody who's really interested in that comma to the same degree that you are. Because most times you're like, send it in, they're like, okay, fine, off it goes. But what's fun about translations for me is that you really can knead and massage and play around with stuff, do draft after draft, and it's painstaking work. I mean, but you can get it to a level where it really sings. And there's a great French word that I'll bequeath to everyone tonight, which I just learned from this translator I was talking about. It's called foisonnement. Does anyone speak French? To foisonner is like to sizzle. It's like, but it's like if you add. It's a chemical word almost. Like if you add baking powder to water and it goes tss, and it sort of creates this new compound that's a little bit bigger. But from English to all Latin dialects, French, Portuguese, Italian, there's a foisonnement, which is this French word, of 20%, which means that English, the same paragraph or page in English will be 20% longer in French or Portuguese, because of the nature of the grammar of Latin and its descendants. So one of the really fun things about this is that these books are shorter in English by far. And that's just a software issue, a hardware issue. It's always true. But, you go along and it's kind of like sculpture. And I'm sure you also know as a translator, like a lot of stuff that, I'm a translator sort of by accident, amateur and hopeless, but I like doing it. It's not what I really do. But, if you speak Portuguese, just a little career hint for any of the younger members of our audience, learn a weird language in college because it's the greatest thing you'll ever do. If you learn Spanish or French, everyone's like, okay, fine. But if you learn, I have this friend who learned Serbian by accident, and she is great. She's worked her entire life because she knows Serbian, because nobody else does. So I've done it a lot, just filling in like for this. But it's really just a fun thing. It's such a privilege to do, and it is. You create this thing together in a way that translation, like writing, it's a lonely job. You're sitting there at your iBook in the Starbucks if you're lucky. Like if it has Wi-Fi and if you feel like it. But basically, that's as social as it gets. Most of the time you're just sitting there by yourself with your online dictionary and your other. And so I think what was fun about this was it really was a collaborative effort in a way that I think is pretty rare when you're dealing with translation. So.
Did you have to have a conversation with before translators about sort of general sense of her worldview and her use of the metaphors to describe that worldview so that you had some common ideas that they would all work with?
Yeah, I mean, I told everybody, I said I don't want to scare you off, but I do want to scare you off if you're going to be scared off. I don't want to have drama going in because, that's possible. I asked people, I don't know if anyone did it, I asked them to actually read my book because I had that voice that I had figured out, that, for better or worse, but that was how, and I had done this. And I wanted them to just be familiar with those philosophical concepts mainly.
Yeah.
And to recognize when she says something that might sound like it's just a word that actually it refers, it comes up again and again.
Mm-hmm.
So we did have the conversation, and I said to people, we'll see how it goes, and we'll talk and be in touch, and we can be in touch with each other, and everybody has their, I don't know what language you translate from, but do you?
Primarily Norwegian.
Norwegian. Okay. Well, I'm sure you have somebody in Stavanger that you email about weird questions, right? Yes.
Yeah.
Or where
Right.
you have your people that
Right,
you
you have
rely
people
on, that you trust, who have a good sense of the language you're translating from and a good sense of English.
Right.
But the funny thing is, with translators, they all have different people, and so their consigliere in Belo Horizonte or whatever was not liking my friend in Recife, who was, but it was, it's just, I think I'm really proud of it, as I'm sure you can tell. It has been a hell of a lot of work, and Goldman Sachs has not been feared for its life in terms of my profit margin, but it is really just an honor to do it. It's been fun. I think that, we've definitely had some we're like, you're not telling me what to do. And I was like, yes, I am. But that's been kind of fun more than anything else because, translation is lonely. But I did try to give some guidelines, and those were flexible ultimately.
That seems like a pretty good place to start. The only last thing I was going to say is that we don't have a picture here because you gave out all your postcards, but just so you guys
I have one that actually was a thank you note.
There's that's awesome. The 4 books that are coming out from New Directions, the next 4, if you put them all into a grid, they are her picture cut out, which is kind of cool.
You can't see it that well, but
when you all go to buy this book, you have to buy all 4 of them. Otherwise
you're
part of her face. You get an eye.
Or even half of the nose.
Yeah, half of your nose. Well, yeah, that's not okay. All 4.
Yeah, and I'm so excited by this. No, but seriously, I'm not saying this because I'm personally getting so rich off of it. But my goal and our goal for everyone who's involved in this has been to keep this project going long enough that we can translate the main body of her work into English. So really any support you can give us in terms of buying it, in terms of talking about it, or if you teach, assigning them, will maybe, we hope, keep this project going. Because it's an expensive and time-consuming.
I want to do a translation of Ethel in the Dark, too. I tried to read the old one.
Yeah, don't try it.
Sucked.
Don't try it.
It was, yeah.
I know.
So.
But they're coming out in English. So the first Brazilian is going to be in the Penguin Modern Classics, which is really cool. And thanks for coming.
Yeah, thank you guys. Thanks. Thank you too.
I talk about this one all night.
Wait till we get a couple of
There's no real effort. I know. God,
it's going to be awesome.
I'm such a bore. I was talking to this woman, this friend of mine, who wrote a book about Vladimir Nabokov, and she said her mother, she said her mother says, I don't ever want to hear that man's name. It's enough already, we get it, and I feel like the boring guy at the bar who's cornering people's neck.
Very inclusive.
Yeah, wedding guest. I know. I'm like,
do you have a few hours? I've got a book for you.
Very sensitive. Don't rub me the wrong way. I can go on and on. And so I'm just really grateful that you guys were allowing me to prattle on about this.
Very interesting.
My favorite thing to do.
Very interesting and fantastic.
And you only have to see me once. I'm off tomorrow. I'm on the plane, so you don't have to follow me around, hearing my stupid,
good deal
enthusiasm every day. Thanks for coming.
I guess, yeah.